Alright, in this lesson we're going to take a look at cameras in our Maya scenes, how we can create and control them. We've already been working with cameras up to a point. We've been using the perspective camera and the 3 orthographic cameras as we move through our scene. What we're going to do now is show you how to create cameras of your own and how you can control them to aim them at the objects in your scene and really start directing like a film director here inside your virtual world.
That's right. The first thing you need to note is that there's 3 different types of cameras that we can choose from. From under the Create menu, you'll see we've got a Cameras category that breaks out into Camera, Camera and Aim, and Camera, Aim, and Up. And we're going to take a quick look at all 3 of these.
So really quick, if we just click on Camera, boom, we get a camera in our scene. If I hit F to frame up on it, you'll see it does indeed look like a camera. Very handy little icon there. It will never shade up, so don't try. Now, how do we look through this camera? How do we aim this camera? We could aim it just by moving it and rotating it if we want to, but we don't really have an idea of what it's looking at, so that's not going to help us out too much. Underneath our Panels menu here inside the viewport, we have Perspective, and we can go to Camera 1, which is the name of this camera as we can see here. So if I choose Camera 1, we are now looking through the camera that I just created.
That's right. We can also go ahead and use the standard viewport navigation controls to manipulate the whereabouts of that camera.
That's right. This feels no different than the perspective camera that I was looking through just a moment ago. And if I wanted to, I could rename this to call this maybe
My Camera.
My Camera. I like that. So My Camera, like so. And you'll see down here in the bottom of the viewport the name will change as well. So really, with that, that's a camera.
Yeah, and let's go and switch back over to perspective real quick, and you'll notice that My Camera has indeed been moved. Look at that. It's way over there now.
That's right. It has been relocated. It's got a new position, new orientation, all based off the viewport controls that we used while we were looking through it.
That's right. Now, let's go and take a look at Camera and Aim.
So if I create a camera and aim, we actually create 2 objects when we do this. We have our camera, and you'll notice it's white, and then we have a little green object here. Now what this means is that the camera was selected, and then the aim was selected as well. And what this object is really just kind of a point. It's very similar to a locator, and our camera has been constrained to always look at it. In fact, if we select our camera, you'll notice it is receiving some inputs over here inside the channel box. Now what this means is I can move this aim anywhere I want, very similar to the interest or target of a light, and the camera will always look at it. This is very handy if you want to make a camera always watch a particular object. You could attach this aim to an object, and as that object walks, moves, drives around the room, whatever, the camera will always stay looking at it. The other cool thing, though, is I can come under my panels. Well, let's rename this. Let's select my camera, and we'll name this Aim Camera, just so we know what it is inside the menu. I can go under Panels, go to Perspective, and switch over to the Aim camera. And now this is also going to behave just like a normal camera. All of my viewport controls are working exactly the way they do with any other camera, but I see this little pink dot in the middle of my viewport. This is my aim. I can select it at any point, and using the Move tool, I can make minor adjustments to my camera to aim us in different directions. So really, that's all there is to it. It's just another type of camera with another level of control, mostly for attaching to objects and things like that. So with that, we have a 3rd type of camera. Let me jump back to my perspective, and you can see the camera and aim pointed way out here. Let's go ahead and create our 3rd type, which is a camera, aim, and up, which actually is 3 objects. We have our camera, we have our aim, and now we have a new object, also constrained to the camera, which is our up vector. So I can select this, and you'll notice as I position it, I am rolling my camera. The top of the camera will always aim at my up, which you won't be able to grab this while you're looking through the camera, per se, but if I look through it like so, you'll notice that my viewport is banked now.
Yeah.
So really, with that, those are all 3 of the types of camera we can create. Now let's go into our scene for the talented ball, and let's create a new camera. We'll go ahead and close this for now. Go to Recent Files and open up the talented ball. Now we don't want to save changes. And here we go. Let's go ahead and rotate around our scene. So far, we have just been using our perspective camera. And when you're going to create an animation, it's a good idea to create a separate camera for your renders, something that your audience is going to see. Treat the perspective camera as your eyes, then create a separate camera to show the audience what you need them to see in your view. So I'll go ahead and go to Create, Cameras, and we'll just create a normal camera. We don't need the aim, and we certainly don't need the aim and up.
And like with all objects, we'll go ahead and name it.
So we'll call this the main camera, like so. And immediately, rather than try to figure out where this thing is aimed or where it's pointed, anything like that, we'll go down to Panels, perspective, and we'll switch over to main camera. And again, this is just like we've got a new perspective camera. It's no different at all. It feels no different. So we'll rotate this to sort of an interesting view of our scene.
Now, something I'd like to point out, this is very interesting. In trying to determine exactly where the camera is going to be or where it needs to be to give you the final picture you're looking for, you're going to need to turn on something. You're going to need to turn on what is known as the resolution gate. This is basically going to show you exactly what the final rendered image is going to be rendered from, what area of what you're seeing on the viewport, because not all of the viewport is going to be rendered.
And I can demonstrate this. If we take the base of our microphone and we place this right here in the corner of the viewport, like so. So you'll notice down here in the corner, and I hit the render button, look what happens.
Yeah, where's the base at?
It's actually not there. So we don't see exactly what is going to be inside of our view when we're going to render. We don't know for certain. We can fix this. There's a really cool feature on every camera, including the perspective camera. We can go down to Camera Settings, and we have the Resolution Gate. And what this is a little green box that pops up in your viewport, reports back the resolution at which you're currently rendering, and tells you everything that is going to be included in your render. Essentially, everything you see inside this green box will render in your frame.
That's right.
So again, if I do this exact same experiment, if we place the base of the microphone stand down here in the corner of the resolution gate this time, and now we hit the render button,
we're going to be able to actually see the mic stand.
We'll see it right there in the corner, just like we expect to. So with that, we'll use the resolution gate as our way to control what the audience will see. We'll just kind of rotate up here to sort of a, not quite a 3/4 view, slightly above.
Just go ahead and pick out any kind of view you want. We're not going to be really picky with this particular lesson. Just make sure you are indeed picking up all of the action. That is very important. We don't want our ball bouncing off of the screen. That really wouldn't look good. Yeah.
Boing, boing. Tell his jokes, and we don't even get to see him.
We don't really want to put the camera dead on looking at the ball coming straight at us. That's not going to be very exciting. We're going to miss a lot of the elements of the scene.
Yeah, we lose a lot of our depth that way.
Plus our camera's bouncing off screen again. So, you know, maybe something like this.
Kind of like so.
Yeah.
And really, with that, let's go ahead and give a test render. We'll pull him maybe about halfway into the scene.
Okay.
And we'll click the render button. I think that's looking pretty good.
Yep.
So now we have a control system where we can move around and we can still tell the audience exactly what they're going to see. Just a quick tip, though. When you are working in this method, when you have your main camera and your perspective camera, remember always that you work with your perspective camera. You only do your rendering and your final shot with the camera you created.
That's right.
So really with that, that's going to wrap up this lesson.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.